Bulls win over the Boston Celtics on Monday night saw a lot of things process-wise that I truly feel like if they can keep them consistently and sustainably in rotation at their foundation, I think that's a big way for them to take a next step in terms of their evolution offensively and like how they're operating against any given defense and how they continue to get production from their others. And a lot of that is rooted in the internal development of Ayo Dosunmu with his catch and shoot specifically, and also his creativity and his ability to have good feel and just adding a little bit more nuance to his drives. Among those things with Ayo pertaining to him specifically, there's going to be a few clips that we're going to break down in this film session, as well as a couple of plays from Nikola Vucevic. The Boston Celtics were doing a lot of switching as they typically do. They do it as well and as timely and as crisply as any other team in the league. And with that, they did a lot with Vucevic where they were switching and doubling, or they were switching and then scram switching on the flight of the pass to his entry passes into the post before he could get his touch. So he would end up getting a matchup. Initially, there was a switch, and then they would flip that. They would flip it to a switch to a matchup that they prefer for him to have, and then allow for him to attack from there. Whether that was Noah Vonleh at times, but more often than not, that was Al Horford that was scram switch to get guys out of a post mismatch and get the Celtics into a more advantageous matchup. Just kind of playing reverse chess as they typically do as a playoff style defense for a playoff team that was just in the finals last season. So let's go ahead and dive into this film session. This first play here is going to be Vucevic getting the ball in the post after a handful of switches from the Celtics, and they were given an advantage all night with the doubling and all the attention they were giving Vooch in the post. So as we let this one flow through, they kind of disguise it some with some screen and screener action. He ends up getting Jason Tatum on him after he sets the down screen for DeMar DeRozan. And then as he comes to come off the cross screen, Kobe White screens Tatum, and it becomes a switch with Al Horford. So he's essentially scrambled out there, and as Horford gets into position in the post, we're gonna see after the turning phase two dribbles. Then there's gonna be not just a double coming from the 45 from Jaylen Brown, but also it's timed up to where Marcus Smart is also getting ready to stunt. So he catches that with the perfect timing, and he essentially has three players on him as he makes this pass. If the Bulls can continue to go to Vucevic enough to where opposing teams are going to give him more than just one body in terms of who's responsible for him on any given play when he has the ball, that is an automatic advantage that they should be taking full advantage of because Vucevic can not only score if he goes quick, but he also has the intelligence and the ability to make passes consistently on time and with accuracy to where another play can be made, whether it's for the player that's the initial recipient or to add to the advantage with kicking it around the wing after the spray out from the double. So he does as he does best, his best skill being his passing, as he's mentioned at numerous times in post game pressers, delivers an on time, on target pass to the defender that's coming to double him from the 45, being Jaylen Brown. And this is where Ayo's evolution and internal development come into play. Because last season his release wasn't as quick. He didn't have as much confidence above the break. And he probably would have looked to kick this one to Kobe White, who's stationed one pass away on the left free throw line extended. Now look at the closeout that Derek White is giving. He's obviously not going all the way out to Ayo because he's coming from Kobe on the initial rotation. But however, after Ayo does get the ball, look at where Derek White is. He's closing out to him, but he's also trying to buy time for the next recovery if Ayo was to either try to make this pass or if he hesitated slightly. Ayo doesn't hesitate. He doesn't even look to make this pass, which shows his evolution and growth as a player and his confidence as well. Takes a shot and knocks it down with confidence. All right, this next play here is going to take place in transition, and it's going to be Ayo really just playing off of the gravity of DeMar DeRozan. I mentioned him playing off the gravity of the top three players in the pod from yesterday, and you really just see it here as DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine attract a lot of attention, and as we saw in the last clip, Nikola Vucevic does as well. Ayo is typically stationed as one of the spacers, and of course beyond the 3-point line, but if he can just continue to tap into slight movement shooting like this, initially he's deep in the corner below Brogdon, and then as Brogdon is enamored with DeMar DeRozan, who's bringing the ball down the floor, he loses track and loses feel for Ayo. And Io does a great job shaking up just enough to be in the sight of DeMar DeRozan, who ends up hitting him with a perfectly timed pass. Brogdon doesn't know exactly where he is initially. It's too far away. And again, Io's internal development, his growth as a three-point shooter, specifically off the catch and the quick release, his confidence is there, and he knocks it down again. All right, this next play is going to take place in transition again. This is after making two catch and shoot threes. So now he's going to start playing off of what he can anticipate to be jumpy defenders when he gets the ball. So here he pumps, and he does a great job getting past Grant Williams and beating the pill switch to get to the basket, as that's Marcus Smart, who's trying to take over for Grant as he gets beat off the pump fake. And Io just does a great job gracefully getting to the basket, keeping his handle tight, and then kind of changing the angle as Marcus Smart, again, the defensive player of the year from last season, tries to steal his angle on the pill switch. And look at the slight veer inside from Io. And that's where he gets the wide open finish at the basket. Just a great job, again, just understanding angles, playing angles, and just being more decisive and having counters for things that defenders are trying to throw at him. All right, this next play here is going to take place in transition again. They go into their trail action where they like to hit DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine to kind of play in isolation a little bit. So yeah, a little ghost action there from Caruso. Nothing really comes of that, so he clears out. And it's a great job containing the ball from Malcolm Brogdon. So the Bulls flow into their next action. It's going to be a step-up screen in an empty corner on the left side between Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. Again, the Celtics are switching everything, so this becomes a switch. And Vucevic dives directly to the block. Does a great job establishing great position. And then again, they're sending doubles when there's not a scram switch coming. This is a small ball lineup, so there's no scramming out of this one, so they're gonna send a direct double. Vucevic does a good job on the catch, scanning and looking, finds out where the double's coming from. This time it's coming from Jaylen Brown, who's gapping off of Ayo Dosunmu. And then he sees Jason Tatum is getting ready to try to play two between Dosunmu and DeMar DeRozan. As that rotation is happening, Vooch fires his pass to DeRozan, well timed, with a great location, which enables DeMar DeRozan to attack Jason Tatum, who's out of position because of the rotation and because of the timing of the pass from Vooch. And he's able to get to the other side on a nice reverse finish. All right, and then this next play again is taking place in transition, and you can just see the confidence oozing, not just from him, but also from his teammates, being willing to throw ahead pass, seeing where Grant Williams was, and allowing for Io to just get into his bag. He's already feeling it, and he just gets into his catch and shoot. And all these extra hops, the body language tells everything. He's flowing. He's extremely confident in his feel and his read and react right now, and he knocks this down. All right, so here we're going to see DeMar DeRozan getting into his dribble drives into the post. They call them Barkley drives, where instead of having an entry pass to get into the post, you have a playmaker like a Kawhi Leonard, a Paul George, a Pascal Siakam, sometimes a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, or obviously a DeMar DeRozan here, or a Giannis Antetokounmpo, where instead of getting the entry pass and getting into the post, they just dribble drive themselves into like a mesh point, and then they flip it around, and then they get into a back down. So you see DeRozan getting to that here. Great containment from Tatum. Again, the Celtics are switching everything. So when Io comes for this dribble handoff, it ends up being a switch. So they got Jason Tatum in the middle of everything here, and Io goes throw and get with Vucevic. And as he comes off of this screen, look at the nuance, because last season he would have either took a direct line drive, which would have had him drive right into Al Horford, who's sitting there waiting for him in a short drop here. But look at what the hesitation does. It buys extra time. It gets Al Horford more into his drop while he's also trying to play two, and it also keeps Jason Tatum at bay, allowing for Io to get his shoulders around Jason Tatum's to then get into his pickup point where he's comfortable with it at, and get into the extended arm finish, and also beat Al Horford to the spot on the backboard. Just a great nuanced drive that I don't know if he necessarily had the feel to execute in this manner last season. So just really keying in on the evolution of his touch and feel and read and react play. All right, this next play here is going to be above the break spacing from Io. So this is semi-transition. There's nothing there. He kicks it out. and they're gonna go spread pick and roll with DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. So again, this is a small to small defensively for the Boston Celtics, so that's gonna be automatically a switch. And because Derek White is high, and this is a great job from Vucevic understanding the angle and on his roll, making sure that he pins that guy high, because then when he rolls, there's an advantage underneath in the basket, as you can see. So Al Horford, being the smart defender that he is, who's on Ayo Dosunmu, free throw line extended on the left side, he's going to kick out switch with Derek White here to take over for the roller and kick out Derek White to then take responsibility for Ayo. DeMar DeRozan's processing speed has grown over the years, and he sees this right away. Vucevic's roll gravity has 2 on him right now. So a perfectly timed pass to Ayo, who's patiently waiting. And again, his catch and shoot game is butter right now. It's money. The release is too quick, and he gets that shot off before rotation can even be brought over to him. Just a great job. Great job from DeMar DeRozan on the read. Great job from Ayo being patient. And just a general good pace to this possession, playing off of the advantages created from, again, Nikola Vucevic. All right, this next play here, we're going to see the Bulls flow into their motion strong, which is essentially a stagger screen. It's motion strong because the point guard stays on the strong side of the floor. And we're going to see, as DeRozan comes off, again, the Celtics are switching everything, so that makes your actions a little bit tougher to get into, and it makes you think a little bit more. However, you can take advantage of them by timely cuts and understanding the spacing element of everything on offense. DeRozan does just that, curling the second screen from Dosunmu, and that clears and creates an advantage because it puts Jason Tatum in a closeout situation as Ayo lifts. Ayo catching this ball on the move is everything because now he has Jason Tatum off balance. As you can see on the catch, Tatum's weight is shifted all the way on the inside, and Ayo does a good job again being patient with his read and react, and then attacks. A quick in and out dribble, and then watch the nuance again with this dribble drive. So not just the hesitation and a little in and out, you see the offhand activity swiping away to help generate more of an advantage for him to get his shoulders across Jason Tatum. And then not only just the extended arm finish again, but look at the wrong-footed finish from Ayo here. Throws Tatum's timing completely off, and he can't even get a contest up on the trail into this layup for Ayo. Again, just the minor details with his game. He's really, really, really flowing within his touch and feel for everything that he's doing right now on offense. And that's so much added value to the Bulls. All right, this last play here, we're going to see them flow into, again, pick and roll, ends up being switched. Vucevic dives to the opposite block this time. They finally get the ball to him. He's not necessarily in an advantageous position, but a good scripted cut from Ayo allows for the spacing to be reestablished, as well as Javonte Green clearing out to the weak side corner. Again, Vucevic takes a dribble or two. He ends up getting a double, anticipating it. And then again, speaking to the passing, especially when teams are giving the Bulls an automatic and putting 2 on the ball with Vucevic. Look at this pass. It's with the left hand. There's not many other front court pieces that are making this pass, but he's one of them. You have to take advantage of having a player that can create advantages like this. It's his primary skill set. Great timely pass with the left hand that throws the Boston Celtics instantly into a scrambling mode defensively. Ayo does a great job driving initially to generate more of an advantage, and then a kick out to DeRozan, who's essentially replacing him, and then that puts Javonte Green again, who cleared out to the weak side corner, in a position to make a play. Tatum has a long way to close out. Wu does a great job on the pump fake, raising his eyebrows to get him a flyby, and knocks down this 3. That was just excellent ball movement, and again, starting with generating the advantage of getting 2 on the ball with Nikola Vucevic, establishing his presence early. The Bulls can continue to do that and continue to use Vucevic in ways that allow for him to tap into all of his many skill sets. That'll help their offense in the half court flow much more, much more better set for postseason play for them to operate. And then I'll also added to that with Ayo Dosunmu and his many growths and internal development. So the Bulls put together a great display of all of those things in that game against the Celtics in that win on Monday night. And it's going to be good to see them continue to try to fulfill this process on a nightly basis.